So what I want to talk to you about is a little bit about who Netlink is and Outsystems, and also about this great case study where we built a telemedicine app in 10 weeks using Outsystems and Vonage for a specialized hospital. And I'm Craig St. Jean. I'm the Chief Technology Architect at Netlink. Yeah, like I said, I'll talk about who Netlink is. We'll talk about what LowCode means, because that might be new to some of you, and how Outsystems fits into that. We'll talk through the case study, some additional things that you might be interested in, and get into any questions. So first, who is Netlink? Well, Netlink is an Outsystems sales, delivery, and global training partner, but we also have a business intelligence division and a few other divisions. We do a lot of things within LowCode, not just with Outsystems, but we are a global company. Our headquarters is out of Michigan. We also have offices in India and Dubai. And we have Netlink Digital Solutions, which is the division where we manage the development, QA/QC, digital transformation, and et cetera, as well as infrastructure and server maintenance and security. We have our BPO office around business intelligence and multi-channel customer interaction, and our digital insights team, which is doing machine learning, AI, deep learning around data, and giving you the ability to query that. But all that being said, we're here to talk about what we've been able to accomplish with Outsystems, specifically within what it can do in LowCode. So what is LowCode exactly anyways? Well, LowCode is a coding platform, a general purpose coding platform that is not high code, where you might be writing C#, Java, C++, etc., but it's also not a no-code platform where you're really limited to whatever your tools, configurators, or templates might offer you. And Outsystems is focused on a visual full stack development where you can make an app very quickly. And I know we say app here just because it's a easy way of saying application, but I want to emphasize that this is really meant for enterprise scale applications. It's not meant for like small toy apps. So it is a full stack development tool that gives you deployment to any touch point, responsive web apps, mobile applications, progressive web apps, and it's even used for some batch processes, and there's actually some Alexa bots that were written in it, which always kind of intrigues me. And it offers full life cycle, the full life cycle of your development. So you can create your apps, but it's also going to help manage deployment of them, monitoring them, and the continued management and configuration of them. So when I say full stack, I mean this is going to give developers the ability to create their user interface for web and mobile, define their logic, their business logic, everything else, create their processes, specifically around workflow, and also manage their data. So behind the scenes, Outsystems will use Microsoft SQL Server or Oracle or Amazon RDS, just depending on your configuration. And it will manage all of your tables and migrations between environments and everything for you. Like I said, from an experience standpoint, it does cover web and mobile, but it also gives you the ability to consume and expose APIs and web services, so REST and SOAP, and also extends out to chatbots, voice, SMS, email, and also video chat, which I'm going to talk about today. And its integrations include over 3,500 open source components that you can easily access and pull into your applications, REST and SOAP APIs, cloud services, enterprise systems like SAP, and so on. And it has DevOps built in from the beginning. So everything around CI/CD and user feedback and governance is really part of what it's going to give you right out of the box. So that way you don't just have the starting point of, I want to build an app, but you also have somewhere that you can take that all the way through production. So to explain a little bit more, I want to tell you about an example where we, Netlink, used Outsystems to build a telemedicine app. We did it in 10 weeks, and we used Outsystems and Vonage. So the problem all came around when COVID hit. You know, it was, especially in some of these more populated areas, this particular case was for a specialized hospital, and they needed to be able to interact with their patients, but their patients didn't feel comfortable leaving their home or going into the hospital because COVID was running rampant and so on. And it's not just a one-on-one type of thing that they needed, but they also needed the ability to pull in translators if necessary, patients' caregivers, add in insurance specialists. So, you know, not just a simple one-to-one chat, but really the ability to give full coverage of anything that they needed to interact with their patients. So they started evaluating what their technology options were. And first they were looking at some high code options, the traditional ASP.NET, Java, so on. They also looked at some low code vendors, and ultimately Outsystems was selected. Vonage was selected for their audio and video chat capabilities, and also because Vonage has open source Outsystems connectors already built in that not only allow you to use that video chat, but also allow you to control how recordings are managed, when things are being recorded, where those are being recorded, and even the flow of traffic. You know, is your video going to go direct between the customer's browser into your servers, or is it going to go through Vonage servers? And as you can imagine, having that control is pretty important for things like HIPAA compliance. And they were using Epic software for scheduling and my charts and things like that. I know some of you within this industry might be familiar with them. So they wanted that to stay in place. So they selected Outsystems, but they wanted a partner to help them bring their vision to life. And that's where Netlink came in. So Netlink, as I said, is an Outsystems sales partner, delivery partner, and global trainer. And so we helped them take their Outsystems Cloud infrastructure, which runs on top of AWS, and connect it to their internal infrastructure. So we helped set up like VPN connections, things like that. And we took their requirements and we brought them to life in 10 weeks. We built reusable components and themes and such, so that way as they want to build new applications, they can just very quickly create a new application that meets all of their styling requirements and everything else, and also has some of these reusable components that they need up front. So we wanted to make sure that they had that available to them as well, and that's one of the focuses with the Outsystems platform, is really giving you the option for code reuse and being able to reuse different things as you build new applications. That really speeds up future applications that you want to build. So how did Outsystems help then? Well, first we integrated the application with Epic software. This goes into that integrations section that I told you about with the full stack development of Outsystems. So Epic was still responsible for scheduling, but you know, if a patient wanted a virtual appointment, they could then select that their appointment would be virtual, and they could then access their appointment through the Outsystems application that we built. And we were using IBM middleware to connect Outsystems and Epic. Now, the biggest way that Outsystems helped when it came to development is with how fast you can build an application in Outsystems. Outsystems already has a ton of UI widgets, charts, things like that, and also has over 80 screen template patterns where they analyzed all of the industry's best practices to find great looking user experiences right out of the box, so that way you can say, I want this type of a screen, and you can then start modifying it from there So that way you don't always have to start everything from scratch. And we started development in September. We completed it by Thanksgiving. We did UAT and release preparations in December. And we did go live in January. And one thing I want to point out too, I mentioned we did this in 10 weeks, but they took the same scope that we delivered in 10 weeks and ran it through a couple of different high-code vendors doing traditional .NET work with, Angular and React, things like that, using Microsoft technologies. And those estimates came in at over 1 year for the same size team and the same scope. And obviously, 10 weeks is a lot shorter than a year. So what about the cloud part of it? I know we heard some great things today about security, some things about LogicWorks, about managing cloud infrastructures. And Outsystems can run in your own data center or in your own cloud. So if you wanted a deployment environment where you leverage someone like LogicWorks to manage your infrastructure, you can deploy Outsystems to that. Or alternatively, you can deploy to the Outsystems Cloud. And Outsystems has an add-on called Outsystems Sentry. And this is what this specialized hospital was leveraging. They were using Outsystems Sentry because Outsystems Sentry is what it is Outsystems' sort of extended security version of their cloud that meets PCI compliance, SOC 2, HIPAA compliance, et cetera. I'll talk about that in a second. And this customer was ultimately able to, based on their estimates, accelerate their externally facing security by 5 years from where they were at. Beyond just the cloud side of it, Outsystems includes something called Lifetime. This is the DevOps and CI/CD tool that's part of the platform, which makes versioning their application code and auditing releases extremely simple. It's out of the box. You can't not do it. So no one can make a change and you don't know who did it. And it also provides architecture dashboard, which also comes with it, which gives code quality assessments to monitor architectural integrity, security issues, performance issues, maintainability issues, and so on. So that all just kind of came out of the box and allowed us to make sure that as we were building this application in 10 weeks, that we weren't building something that was going to be of poor quality that would just be a maintenance nightmare or that had a whole bunch of security holes and so on. Now, I did mention HIPAA compliance. Outsystems Sentry is the Outsystems Cloud that does offer HIPAA compliance. So this hospital leveraged Sentry to very quickly have a secure cloud, and they connected their secure cloud to their internal infrastructure through an IPsec VPN tunnel. So that way we could communicate from Outsystems to their internal services. And like I mentioned earlier, there are other options. If you wanted to, or I should say, if they wanted to build their application on their own infrastructure and manage everything, Outsystems supports that kind of an on-premise or private cloud model. It also supports a hybrid model where some of our customers will choose to have their development environment in the Outsystems Cloud, but their production environment in their own on-premise cloud, where they have a further ability to control everything that they want. If you wanted to learn more about Sentry, if this is interesting to you and you want to see how Outsystems offers a cloud environment that they are monitoring, they are managing, they're dealing with intrusion detection and security and everything else, you can check them out at outsystems.com/Sentry. There are a couple of other case studies that I do want to bring to your attention if this is appealing to you. Humana was able to update or build their digital channels with Outsystems, and they were able to provide 4 times faster delivery from high code. When this case study was written, they had 7 applications, and that was growing rapidly. And they saved 6 months building their first app compared to if they did this in high code. CZ Health Insurance serves 3.7 million policyholders with Outsystems. So I'm not talking about a system that's great when you have a small user base. This is a scalable infrastructure that can manage millions of transactions. So in this case, they have 3.7 million policyholders, 3.5 million calls per annual, and their app is rated at 4.6 out of 5 in the iOS App Store. I believe it's iOS. And Life Healthcare's progressive web apps, they brought them into play with COVID as well. Released their applications to 66 hospitals, 286 clinics with 70,000 users, and deployed it as a progressive web app that could be run in your browser on your desktop or on your phone. And there's, of course, plenty more case studies at outsystems.com/case-studies. So if you want to learn more, where do you go? Well, you can create a free Outsystems personal environment to build your ideas, explore the platform. This runs on their cloud in AWS, not on Sentry. It's their non-Sentry cloud. But it's free. It's yours for forever, for you to do whatever you want with it, and you can explore and see if this is the right platform for you. Outsystems has a great success program when it comes to learning. All of their training and videos and exercises are available free on their website. They have an extensive forum with a very large community and a great knowledge base. And the Forge is what I mentioned earlier about those open source components. There's over 3,500. I think it's over 4,000 now. Applications, connectors, etc. I like to call it GitHub for Outsystems. So I want to thank you so much and get to any questions. I do see there's one in chat about licensing. Is it included in Outsystems license, or do we need to buy it separately? I assume it is referring to Outsystems Sentry. They deployed Outsystems in Azure. Automation, did not remember anything about Netlink. So Outsystems Sentry is an add-on. It is an additional cost. But if HIPAA compliance, PCI compliance, SOC 2, things like that are something that you require, then that's available to you through that model. And when it comes to Netlink, we are a delivery partner. There's many delivery partners. We've been partnering with Outsystems for about 10 years, or I think it might be 11 now. And Outsystems itself is not new to this industry. They've actually been around for about 21 years. So I don't see any other questions in the chat, but I will remain in case you have any questions afterwards. I want to thank you so much for inviting me. Ron, back to you.